Hello everybody and welcome back to another video. My name is Lori. I'm a full-time reseller on Poshmark, eBay, and on Whatnot. And today I want to talk to you about my top 6 tips on how to thrift like a professional. So just a little bit about me. I started my reselling career in 2018. I have sold close to 10,000 items online, 95% of which have been pre-owned. And of those 10,000 items, I've sold 7,100 on Poshmark, about 1,500 to 2,000 on live sales on a platform called Whatnot, and the remainder have been sold through eBay. So thinking about the 10,000 items that I have sold, I thought it was about time to share with you some of my favorite tips. And I think it's important to say that this is not just for resellers. The tips that I'm going to share with you today apply to people who just love to thrift for themselves and are looking for the most effective way to bring home some quality items to add to their wardrobe. I am going to be focusing on clothing, but a lot of these tips can apply to hard goods and other things that you might find while you're out at the thrift store. So I am going to talk to you about 6 overarching tips, but there's going to be a lot of information within each of those tips. So if you want to take notes, feel free. I'll be sure to put timestamps in the description if you want to skip around to different tips. I'm hoping you'll find this to be really helpful. And I'm sure there will be some tips that I forget to mention, so feel free to mention them in the comments below, and that way we can all learn from each other. All right, are you ready? Let's dig in. So a lot of these 6 tips are going to be very broad-based, and then I'm going to get into the detail within each of the tips. So let's start with number 1, and that is to go to the thrift store with a game plan. Have you ever walked into a store and it's been 15 minutes before you even think about what you're actually looking for, or you're walking around in circles? It's very difficult to zone in and find something unique or exciting to you because you just don't have a game plan. Whether you're shopping as a reseller or you're shopping for yourself, I think it's always to your advantage to go in with a game plan. Whether that's looking at some of the latest trends online. Sometimes people like to go on Pinterest and create a board of inspirational outfits. Maybe you're looking for a capsule wardrobe, so you're going in with real specific things that you might want, like a black blazer or a good pair of denim, a nice pair of loafers. Whatever your plan is, it's great to have an idea of that before you go into the store. I think when you go thrifting with a purpose, I think you're more likely to come out with things that are going to be useful to you, whether you're a reseller or whether you're shopping for yourself. When it comes to resellers, I like to take a look at my current inventory. For example, I know right now that in my current inventory, we have lots of sizes in denim, size 10, 12, and 14, and then like 00, 0, 2, 4. Maybe 6. It's those middle sizes that we're missing. 27s, 28s, and 29s. Those are the jeans that I need to be focusing on. It's good information for me to know that before I go into the store. I typically shop the larger sizes when I go into thrift stores because I feel like larger sizes sell out first, but I've been really just focusing on larger sizes for a while, and now we are overflowing with larger sizes for denim. Also for me, sometimes I pay attention to brands like, say, Patagonia, for example. That brand has slowed down a little bit for me, but if I'm out of all of the better sweaters from Patagonia, I may be on the lookout to pick up some more sweatshirts or better sweaters or outerwear from Patagonia to add to my closet. So going in with a game plan and taking some time before you head out to the thrift store will always work to your benefit. That's not to say that some of my best thrift finds haven't been discovered on a whim and on short notice, but it's always fun to have a game plan, and then whatever you find outside of that is just icing on the cake. My second tip is to go prepared, and it's not in the same way that I think having a game plan is preparation. This is make sure you're dressed comfortably, don't go thrifting on an empty stomach, try to scope out whether or not your thrift store has a bathroom before you get there and plan accordingly. If you're shopping for yourself, it is good to know whether or not the store has dressing rooms. A lot of thrift stores do not have dressing rooms since COVID. I'm seeing a few come back, but the majority of the thrift stores that I go to do not have dressing rooms. It's also good to know what kind of payment you'll need. Some stores only accept cash. I actually go to a store that only accepts cash, but they have an ATM on site. If you're going to yard sales, you might want to know if they take Venmo. That's a thing now. You might be able to pay through Venmo. Anything you can do to prepare yourself to have a really good time at the thrift store. And one of the most important things I think that comes under this category is giving yourself enough time time to be successful at the thrift store. I've said in so many of my videos, if I had more time, I wouldn't have missed that flaw, or I wish I had more time to see what else the store had, because they had such great things, but I only had an hour to shop. The more time you can give yourself at a thrift store, I think the more successful you'll be, because you'll have longer time to sort through your cart. You'll have more time to examine the pieces to see if there are stains or tears or anything like that. You'll have more time to look up comps if you're a reseller to see what these things are going to sell for. Having time on your side is always a bonus, in my opinion. Another thing you may want to consider for step number 2 in going prepared is you may want to bring a friend with you. For those of you who've been watching me for a while, you know that I often go thrifting with my girlfriend Kim. It's just so nice to have another set of eyes looking for stuff with you, for you. You can find things for your friend. They might be a different size, or they may be looking for things that are different than you, and you can help each other out. You can try things on with each other. It's a different experience. Sometimes I just like to be alone and get in the zone. But when you're preparing to go on a trip, it may be something you want to consider. Do you want to go with a buddy, or do you want to shop by yourself? Your planning might be different if you're going with a friend. It's always good to bring bags, because sometimes the thrift stores don't even have bags to offer you. Like if you go to the Goodwill outlet, there aren't bags there. So you want to be prepared. You might want to bring a snack or water with you if it's going to be a long day, so you can just kind of stay in the zone while you're thrifting and not get fatigued too easily. And since I think it's important to not go thrifting on an empty stomach, I want to talk to you about today's sponsor, Thrive Market. Thrive Market is an online membership-based grocery store on a mission to make healthy living easy and affordable for everyone, with a guaranteed savings on every order. As a Thrive Market member, you'll save on every single order of the highest quality organic and sustainable products. And if you find a lower price, they'll match it. Orders of over $49 ship for free. It's that simple. There's no tipping and no additional fees. Finally, a grocery store that can customize your needs. I have been a member of Thrive for years prior to having the opportunity to work with them. So I'm so excited about this partnership. One of the things I love about Thrive Market is that they have an auto ship program. So there are certain things that I know I love, and I like to order them all the time, and you can put them on auto ship so they get shipped to you automatically. And you save a little bit of extra money when you do the auto ship program. This is not even food related, but I absolutely love this Acure lotion. I may have even featured this in my favorite things video that I do every December. This is the brightening day cream, and it has like a little bit of a citrus smell. It's absolutely beautiful. And compared to what I pay for some of my cosmetics and moisturizers and such, this is such a good deal. It has incredible reviews. It smells so good, and I love it. And I'm always happy when it shows up on my doorstep. This is something I tried this month. I usually order the Chomps, but I'm trying the Thrive brand. When I do go thrifting, I love to pack these because they are high in protein and they're super easy to eat on the go. This is like one of the things I will bring with me on my way to the bins. Let me know in the comments if you've ever tried these. I'm really excited to give these a go. Another cool thing, if you're a reseller, you get all this great sustainable packaging that you can reuse to ship your items out. Always a bonus. Oh, this is another thing I love, nut pods. This is the almond coconut creamer, and the flavor is coffee cake, and they're a great substitute for some of the coffee mate that has a lot of chemicals and yucky stuff in it. This is just a great healthy swap. This is another product that I have on auto ship. I love this all-purpose cleaner, this fresh lemon. It's just a gentle all-purpose spray that I use on my wood tables. I use it on my granite countertop. This is plant-based. There's no harsh chemicals, and it's multi-surface friendly, so can't go wrong with that. Granola nut butter is one of my guilty pleasures. I will take like a little scoop of this and put it in with my oatmeal and some fruit, and it just livens up the party. It has the natural oils on top, so you have to mix it up and shake it. So yummy. These are just some of the incredible things that I love to get at Thrive Market. There are thousands of things to choose from beauty products to household cleaners to groceries. It's also super convenient to just shop from the convenience of your laptop and not be out in the stores, because for me, when I'm out shopping, I like to be in the thrift store, not the grocery store. Comment below if you feel the same way. So thank you, Thrive Market, for sponsoring today's video. Click the link in the description box or go to thrivemarket.com/LoriTata to save 30% off your first order and get a free gift worth up to $60 when you join the Thrive Market today. Number 3 is know the store store you're thrifting at. When I go thrifting, I prepare differently for different stores. If I'm going to Savers, I know that I always want to make sure I have a 20% coupon with me. I also like to be there on days and during the hours when I know that they are stocking the floors. For example, at Savers, there was a time at my store location that they did not put any new merchandise out on Sundays. I think that's changed because I've been in a few Sundays now and they were stocking on a Sunday. But Sunday used to be a day that I didn't always enjoy thrifting on. It's very busy on the weekend. If I can avoid thrifting on the weekend, I do. In Savers' case, on this particular day, I knew that they didn't put out new stock on Sunday. You may not have that information if you're not thrifting on a regular basis, but just try to pay attention to the stores you're going to. You can do a quick Google search about a store before you leave, and then you can find out a lot of information about that particular store. For example, the Goodwills that I shop at typically have one color for the week that gets a 50% discount. And it's different in different regions and different stores. So just pay attention to those sorts of things. You can also get on mailing lists for different thrift stores. I'm on Savers mailing list and I get text message updates from Goodwill. Just today, I received a text message from Goodwill that said I could get 30% off a pre-owned item in store. In this tip, even though it goes under the number 3 where you're scoping out a particular store, I think it works to everyone's advantage to arrive early at these shops. It's kind of the theory, the early bird catches the worm. They're putting out new stock in the morning typically. And if you get there sometimes even an hour or two before the crowds start rolling in, so like at my Savers, I think they open around 9 a.m. If I get there at 10:30 or 11, it can start to get super busy. If I'm there right away, the store can be very quiet and I can kind of freely roam without a lot of competition at the new racks and things like that. Number 4 is to have an action plan. This is the step that focuses on what to do once you're in the store. You've already prepared, you're comfortable, your bags are ready, you might have a friend, you stopped at the bathroom, you drank your coffee, like you're good to go. You figured out the store, you have your discount code, now you're in the store. What do you do once you're in the store? So for me, I sometimes like to look at larger items first. I enjoy looking through sweaters, I'll look at the shoes, I like to figure out what the new tag is and then kind of scope it out and see, like, well, let me look at the new tags on the sweaters. Am I seeing any trends here? I once was thrifting in Boston and I found a new with tag item from Anthropologie and it wasn't marked up at all, but the price tag on it was like $198 or $129. Obviously not what I'm going to get for resale, but it's pretty exciting to find new with tag items. And then in that store, I went to different departments and I found 4 or 5 other items from Anthropologie and other brands that were new with tag that were likely donated from the same person. So I like to say where there's smoke, there's fire. Things like that don't always jump out at you, but if you're looking at things that are quick to go through, like the sweaters or jackets or shoes or handbags, I find I can figure out what the new tag is and then start sorting through those things rather quickly. And once you start searching through those new items, it may lead you to other items in other departments that are going to be fantastic finds for you. One of the things I always say when you're in store is if it's a maybe, it goes in the cart. You can always put things back at the end of your trip, but if you're on the fence about something and you think it could potentially be a really good sale for you or something that you personally would love, keep it in your cart and decide later. I can't tell you how many times I have been on the fence about something and I do a loop around the thrift store to think about it and I come back and that item is gone. You can always put items back, but they may not be there when you go back. If you're on the fence, put it in your cart. One of the reasons I do this all the time at my local Savers is because the reception is really bad in there and I can't always get a signal to run comps or to see what things are selling for, to see what people are pricing them at. So I'll put things in my cart and then I'll have a pile and I'll go to a certain part of the store where I either have reception to look up comps, or sometimes I go to a part of the store that has really good lighting so I can look through each individual item and see what the condition is of that item. Also for me, a lot of the times when I'm thrifting, I'm also filming at the same time. So if I'm on the fence about something, I just put it in my cart. And then sometimes I'll find like an empty rack and I'll hang everything up that I'm thinking about and go through the rack of the 10 or 12 items that I'm thinking about getting. The more time you give yourself to look through, the better, because you can always decide if something's gonna work for you or not when you have more time to look. And And focusing on the new racks, I probably will say this so many times throughout this video, but the new racks, there can always be such treasures on the new racks. So often there's someone at the left side of the rack and I'm on the right side of the rack and we're working towards the middle and then we swap, and that's always fun so that everybody gets a chance to be there. Number 5 is something that I've talked about several times, but I feel like it has to have a place in here for thrifting like a pro, and that is to focus on the 5 pillars of thrifting. I've done full-length videos about this. I've done a series called From the Store to Your Door where I talk about my process from start to finish with thrifting. So the 5 pillars are things that I look for when I'm thrifting, when I'm considering buying something for reselling. There's 3 C's to start with. I look at the cost of an item. Is it worth what they're asking? I look at the condition. Is it in good condition? Does it have a stain? Is it new with tag? I decide if the condition is good enough for me to take it home. I also look at the comps. As a reseller, that's something I look at. Even if it's in great condition and the price is right, if the comps just aren't there, am I going to take it home? The other 2 things that I look for are style and brand. Brand is a big factor for me. There are certain brands that just bring people to my closet. There are brands that consistently sell for me, that I enjoy selling. And good brands aren't always the same for all the people. There are a lot of people out there that have stopped picking up Free People and Madewell. I still enjoy selling those brands. In fact, Free People is still one of my top selling brands, probably because I pick it up a lot. Just by having so many Free People items in my closet, I tend to sell a lot of Free People. But what brands are good for me may not be the same brands that are good for you from a reselling perspective. But brands are definitely important, and style is very important. I do more style-based pickups for Whatnot, which is a live platform that I sell on. So even if the brand isn't there, if it's a style that I really like, I'll pick it up. I just recently picked up a J. Jill shirt. J. Jill is not like this great brand for me as far as what I love to find to pick up, but there was this one particular shirt that had a ton of beautiful floral embroidering on it, and I knew that that was a style that would resonate with my customers. So I picked that up, and it was one of the first things to sell from a haul. It only sold for $25. I paid $5 or $6 for it, but it was a really quick flip, and I knew that that style would sell. And on the flip side of that, sometimes we can be really glammed by a brand. I've bought a lot of designer brands that have just sat in my closet because the style isn't there. So these are all things that I need to consider. And I always say that if something checks all the boxes of my pillars, low cost, excellent condition, excellent comps, great brand, great style, that is what I call a home run. As thrifters, this is something we're always looking for, something that checks all those boxes. But most of the time we are sacrificing in one of those categories, and you just have to weigh out what works for you best. Is style most important? Are comps most important to you? Are you a person that needs to buy something that you're passionate about? I tend to enjoy taking things home that I'm more excited to sell. That's not to say if I ran a comp on a shirt that I thought was homely and the comps were fantastic and the sell-through rate was great, that I would leave it behind, because I wouldn't. But I do get excited to pick up things that I'm excited about. I'm more likely to get them home, get them listed, and share my enthusiasm with you here on this channel. So in a perfect world, we hit that home run and we find a piece that checks all the boxes of the pillars. But most of the time, we're making choices about it. Okay, next up is, if all else fails, go for quality fabrics. If you know nothing about brands, nothing about style, but you know how to identify quality pieces in the thrift store, you're gonna be okay. If you can go through and find things made of natural fibers and sustainable fabrics, you're gonna do okay. I love finding cashmere at the thrift store. Alpaca is one of my favorite fabrics to find. Quality fabrics that will last a long time, that are not synthetic, are oftentimes a safe purchase.
I'm heading out.
I love you.
You guys like the fit? I'm going to UMass.
We love it.
She thrifted this for me.
What is that?
My champion sweatshirt.
Oh.
She's pretty good at what she does.
We're going over tips for quality selling.
Be the best mom ever.
I love you. Mwah. It's Mother's Day. I'm filming.
Oh yeah. I didn't know you were going to post this today.
No, that's okay.
Know your son's style.
Know your son's style.
Because odds are, if your son likes it, then other people like it.
Yeah, this was my dad's that
tip.
he's wearing.
Tip of the day. I got it all stained.
Yeah, you do have that all stained.
All right, I love you.
I'll have to work on that. Love you. Bye, honey.
Happy Mother's Day.
Thank you. you believe I'm filming on Mother's Day? Jay just drove Anthony to the train station to go back to New York, and Rocco was heading out to be with friends. So I'm like, I'm gonna film because we just went to lunch with my mom and Jay's mom and my sister-in-laws. We had a really great time. So I'm like, well, since everyone's gonna be gone, I think I'm gonna film, and then that way I can relax tonight and I can edit on Monday. Being able to identify quality pieces is really important. Like when I'm at the bins and I find silk or cashmere, those are two fabrics that often sell well and they're very light. So when you're paying by the pound, it's such a bonus when you can find them. My mother loves cashmere sweaters too. So oftentimes you'll find holes in the sweaters that are cashmere, but my mom is not afraid to mend her cashmere sweaters. So when I find cashmere, if it's just a small hole, like maybe in a seam or in an inconspicuous place, I'll grab it and I'll know that my mom will be able to mend that, and then she'll have a cashmere sweater for, usually under $7. Also, even if you don't know a brand, if it's a quality fabric, there is a decent chance that it may also be a good brand. You can also look and see if patterns are lining up. You can tell by the hardware on handbags. You can tell by the buttons. You can tell by the seams if it's a pattern. Are the patterns lining up? That is also a way to identify quality. YKK zippers are usually quality zippers on quality pieces. So if you're on the fence about an item and the zipper feels cheap and it's not a YKK, it may not be a quality product. So knowing what to look for in quality pieces, whether it's fabric or stitching or hardware, if you know what to look for that's quality, that might give you more hints to whether or not it's a good piece to pick up. And this can help you with your own wardrobe or if you're looking to resell items as well. Okay, so I think I've already given 6 tips, but my last tip, we're not gonna give this a number, this is just like a general bonus, is to be curious. I think curiosity is what really pushes me in this profession. And I know the days when I'm feeling lazy and I'm not as curious. I have been at the thrift store, filmed myself going past a brand, and I have not been curious enough to look at something in the moment for whatever reason. And then when I'm home looking through footage, I see something and then I start researching and I think to myself, oh my gosh, I can't believe I left that behind. When you're curious, it just leads to more information. If you see a label that looks really nice and unique and you're curious enough to look that up, you may find out that that is some brand you've never heard of that is worth hundreds. This happened to me with a sweater that I bought years ago. It was good fabric, so it was a wool sweater. It was a cardigan. The style was really beautiful and on trend, but I had never heard of the brand. I think the brand was Baba. It was made in Spain. And I was just curious. I'm like, this is just a really nice sweater. I've never heard of this brand. And then it ended up selling for $200 and I paid $5 for that sweater. I probably would have picked it up based on style and quality of fabric, but I had no idea what that brand is, but my curiosity pushed me to look it up. I know the days when I'm really on my A game and I'm not skipping a beat. I also recently posted a video at Goodwill where I said I had to go back. I had passed on an aloe pair of sweatpants. You guys may remember this. It wasn't that long ago. The sweats that I found were from the Accolade line at Aloe, which at the time, now I know, at the time I didn't know was a big deal. I believe the pieces from the Accolade line have like a gold label, like a metallic-y looking finish to them. Anyways, I knew Aloe was a good brand, but they weren't in the best condition. I was looking at all the different pillars and I decided to leave them behind because I just was lazy and I didn't look up comps. I wasn't curious enough. I filmed them, they were part of my video, and then people were like screaming at me as they were watching the video, like, I can't believe you left Accolade behind. I had people DMing me saying, I would pay you for those right now. The more curious you are, the more you will learn about all of these things, about the brands that are good, about styles that are relevant right now. I mean, I'm pushing 51 right now. I am not like the poster child for what's in fashion. I have to do my research. I'm not out in the city seeing what people are wearing, so I have to do my research. If you're curious and you're home researching online, looking at fashion shows, going on trend videos to see what is trending for the season. I think it's really great in general in life to be curious about stuff. I think it leads to more knowledge, and certainly my curiosity in reselling and with thrifting has led me to some really incredible treasures. So those are my tips for today. I know I try to narrow things down and then I go off on all sorts of tangents, but I hope you got a feel for what the essence of thrifting like a pro can look like. It takes time to learn this craft like anything. I hear from a lot of people who are like, I just don't know what brands, or the thrift stores near me don't have anything good worth selling. This does take time. I think thrifting is a marathon. It's not a sprint. It takes a long time to get to learn the brands and get to know what might sell for you as a reseller. Thrifting can be really fulfilling. It's really difficult for me now to go into retail locations and pay full price for anything. One of the things that I've been working on through the years is working on like a capsule wardrobe that is thrifted. I recently bought a pair of like new Birkenstocks that will be part of my capsule wardrobe for the summer until I beat them up so much that I can't wear them. I tend to wear my Birkenstocks into the ground. I've also found some beautiful black cardigan sweaters that are part of my staple wardrobe. This blazer is thrifted and it has taken time, but given how much money you can save on your own personal wardrobe or for the wardrobe of people in your family, or how much money you could make thrifting and reselling, whether it's full-time or as a side hustle or just as a fun hobby, it's really worth your while to take some time to learn how to thrift like a pro. If you enjoyed today's video and you'd like to see more from me, be sure to subscribe to my channel, hit the thumbs up button if you had a good time today. Remember to leave a comment if you want to share some of your pro tips for thrifting. Thanks again to Thrive Market for sponsoring today's video. Click the link in the description box or go to thrivemarket.com/LoriTata to save 30% off your first order and get a free gift worth up to $60 when you join the Thrive Market today.